A Josh Hartnett action thriller that's just coming to US cinemas had already been released earlier this year in Europe, so you have the option to check out Fight or Flight on the big screen or hit it up on streaming, if you happen to have a VPN. But which is the better option? A mercenary takes on the job of tracking down a target on a plane, but ends up having to protect them when they're surrounded by people trying to kill them both. Coming off his psychotic turn in Trap, Hartnett is now playing a burnt-out merc who appears to live life from drink to drink. When he's called on to identify and then protect an asset on a plane, the whole thing becomes a snafu, which turns into a foobar situation. Think of this insane action thriller as Bullet Train meets Smokin' Aces, but in a massive two-story plane. So yeah, you need to leave all disbelief at the door and then simply accept that there will be utter ridiculousness. If you can do that, you're rewarded with a balls-out, crazy, close-quarters melee that showcases brutal beatings, wicked and fluid fight choreography, and then a wide variety of weaponry, including a chainsaw. Now, outside the plane, on the ground, not dangling on the wing like some Twilight Zone episode, we have Katie Sackhoff and Julian Kostov playing enigmatic, spook-type roles where they have incredible access to surveillance technology, and they're the ones that hired Hartnett for his skills. Now, this area of the story, it's fine, because it's the MacGuffin for getting Hartnett involved. Outside of that, though, they're very generic figures, with supposed intrigue and mystery surrounding them that is just uninteresting and bland. And they do have an interaction that helps fill in some background on Hartnett, but it comes in the form of an exposition dump. So while it is informative, it's also lazily accomplished. And I'm not sure we really need the backstory. Sure, it goes to inform us of the deeper rationale of why Hartnett behaves as he does, but it's not necessary for the overall plot. The dude has a need. Those who hire him can fulfill that need, and we get to watch savage carnage inside a limited space. Now, inside the plane, aside from Josh Hartnett, we have a few stand-up performances that work to add action and levity. Charithra Chandran, who you might recognize from Bridgerton, there's also Juju Chanzetso, Danny Eshok, and Huey O'Donnell, and they all complement the story, sometimes with brilliant fighting skills, other times with awkward snark that's mainly amusing. Now, Eshok and O'Donnell especially add to the humor because while they're absolutely horrified by what's transpiring on the plane, they're also incredibly dedicated to their job as flight attendants and receiving outstanding customer satisfaction reviews. So there's this hilarious balance between them being grossed out or terrified and then offended at having to inconvenience their passengers. Now, I love the dynamic and the chemistry between Hartnett and Chandran. They both have this sarcastic edge to them, which provides entertaining personality clashes and interactions. And the reason this feels somewhat like Smokin' Aces is that as the story goes along, we find out how many assassins just happen to be on the same flight, which then allows for all of that planned chaos. Now, the scenario is unbelievable and preposterous, but that doesn't affect the excitement. So many times Hartnett is just visually bewildered and then annoyed at how many people seem to be coming after him. He creates his reactions to be engaging and still believable, within, of course, the absurd situation. He's also a functioning drunk, so he moves through the story in sort of a haze, angry that he is slowly becoming less drunk. But he's so skilled that he's not terribly impaired physically. And while this could be completely unbelievable, it also allows him to be carefree and dismissive, and even cynical in his mannerisms and his responses. And these are both weirdly inviting and annoyingly callous, but they fit the characterization perfectly. The movie's 97 minutes, and it knows exactly what it is. It doesn't belabor moments or even allow much downtime. There are some small reprieves, but these allow for increased character engagement, while also setting up some more tense action. Aside from the offshoot storyline that follows Sackhoff's character, the close-quarters battles and violent hand-to-hand combat work to make the storytelling tight and energetic. I liked Sackhoff in this. She plays a good, no-nonsense operator, but the story doesn't allow much from her. She's just there to provide facts on Hartnett for us, as well as provide the impetus for the plot. And after that, the storyline's mainly meh. And going back to the action, the visuals we get are gross and painful. I'm talking arms and legs being forced in very wrong directions, body parts being pierced in creatively disgusting ways, and then the use of improvised weaponry that will make you look at all of the items on your next flight very differently. And the choreography, it's tight, and thanks to the confined space, we're typically pretty close to the action, so we can watch the bones snap and then the blood spurt. And I like, too, that the cinematography allows for some wider or deeper shots, giving us more of the scope of some of the all-out assaults that are happening. And we can feel the momentum and the energy of these clashes. So when a drink cart comes barreling down an aisle and then it hits somebody, we're aware of the speed and the mass and then that crushing effect the cart has. But when we need to watch somebody have their head squished under an armrest, the camera gets all close and intrusive so we can see that terror and struggle too. And thankfully also, despite the limited space and the chaotic fights, the action is easily seen and it's not obscured through a bunch of quick edits or blurry shaky cam. There's enough movement to convey the energy, but not so much that everything becomes indecipherable. And because the movie knows exactly what it is and it works to fulfill that mission, Fight or Flight, it's a blast to watch. And it's silly fun that's jam-packed with brutal fights, bone-snapping blows, and immersive choreography. Josh Hartnett and Sharith Rashandran create a delightfully dysfunctional pairing, full of acerbic wit, testy conversations, and just the right amount of endearing sweetness. The sequences outside the aircraft are lackluster, and they only serve as story setup. But despite that, Katie Sackhoff's interactions with Hartnett elicit humorous exchanges and provide the backing to get everything going. The film doesn't outstay its welcome, and it delivers continuous thrills amidst a preposterous story foundation. You won't go wrong by seeing this in the theater or at home via VOD, but watching all the carnage on the big screen can be a lot more exciting. There's no sex or nudity, a ton of profanity, almost non-stop savage violence. I give Fight or Flight 3.5 out of 5 couches. So what other crazy action movies do you love to watch? Let me know some of them in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for couching with me.